You know that feeling. You hit record, you've got this vague idea in your head. You think you know what you are saying, but then you are 3 minutes in and you realize you have absolutely no idea what you are saying. You delete it and you start over again and again. Maybe you have spent 40 minutes, 50 minutes, even an hour planning this video. You've got your camera ready, your lighting is perfect, your audio is clean, everything is technically perfect. But the moment you start speaking, it all falls apart. You're rambling, you're saying every 5 seconds. You're boring yourself, let alone your audience. So you do what most of us do. You keep recording, hoping the magic will somehow happen in the edit. You'll figure it out later, right? That is the wrong approach. You end up with 3 hours of footage staring at your timeline thinking, what was I even trying to say here? This is the modern creator's curse. Not lack of skill, not lack of passion. Overthinking without focus. I have spent years trapped in this cycle. Now I am discovering something so stupidly simple. I almost didn't believe it worked. 5 lines. That's it. Not a full script, not a 20-point outline, not some complicated storytelling framework you need a degree for. Just 5 lines. And suddenly, every story is beginning to click into place. My videos are getting clearer. My audience is beginning to understand my message better. People are starting to comment about my storytelling before they comment about anything else. So today, I'm going to show you the exact method that has started to fix this for me. Because here is the truth. When you master these 5 lines, you can create a story that actually moves people. You can create content with a real heartbeat. I am a creator just like you. Before I built my channel, I worked with a video production studio. I worked with clients who demanded results. I made commercials, short films, documentaries. I fell into the same trap as everyone else. I thought complexity made things better. Crazy concepts, unexpected transitions, cutting edge techniques, and yeah, that stuff looked cool. But you know what? We kept running into decision paralysis. The more options you have, the more lost you get. The more cool techniques you are trying to implement, the less clear your actual message becomes. It's like having 1,000 ingredients, but no recipe. You are so busy being clever that you forget why you are making this video in the first place. The worst part, your audience can feel it. They sense when you are overthinking. They feel the disconnect between what you are trying to say and what you are actually saying. And that's a death sentence for engagement. So I started asking, what if less is more? What if instead of planning everything, I got crystal clear on just the core, the essence, the heartbeat of the story? That's when I discovered this method. So here is how it works. You write down 5 lines, just 5. So line 1, the situation. This is your entry point. Where are we? What is the world? Who is in this story? Paint a picture with just a few sentences. Help your audience understand the landscape they are walking into. This isn't a backstory, it's context. Now line number 2 is desire. Now you tell us what your character wants. What is their goal? What are they chasing? What do they need? This is where the magic happens. Because the moment people know what someone wants, they automatically start caring. They lean forward. They think, will they get it? Should they get it? What does this mean? Desire creates tension before conflict even arrives. Now, line number three, conflict. But here is the thing, wanting something isn't enough. There has to be a reason it's hard. There has to be something standing in the way, an obstacle, a challenge, opposition. Because here is a hard truth, without conflict, there is no story, there is just a statement. If I tell you I wanted to be a creator and became a creator, that's not a story, that's a sentence. But if I tell you I wanted to become a creator, but self doubt stopped me for 3 years, now you are listening. The conflict is where your audience get emotionally invested. Now that leads to line number four, change. Then something shifts. Maybe it's a realization, maybe it's an action, maybe it's someone telling you something that changes how you see everything. The change is the turning point. It's where momentum starts, it's where your character, which is you, and your audience now line number four is change. Then something shifts. Maybe it's a realization, maybe it's an action, maybe it's someone telling you something that changes how you see everything. The change is the turning point. It's where momentum starts. It's where your character or you starts moving towards something different. And your audience feels the movement. They sense growth. They sense home. Now, line number five is the result, the outcome. Finally, you show us the new reality. Not because you need a happy ending. You don't. But because your audience needs closure. They need to see the world is different now when we had started. They need to understand what changed. They need the satisfying ending. Line number five is the result. Finally, you show us the new reality. Not because you need a happy ending, you don't, but because your audience needs a closure. They need to see how the world is different now than when we started. They need to understand what changed. They need that satisfying landing. Okay, this might sound too simple, like way too simple, but that simplicity is the point. Think about how naturally you understand stories. When you hear about someone's life, you don't think in terms of plot points and character arcs. You think in terms of progression. Where did they start? What did they want? What got in the way? What changed? Where are they now? That's how human brains process narrative. It's not a technique we invented, it's how our brains are wired. These five lines are the skeleton of a story. Everything else, the details, the footage, the music, the editing, that's all flesh to the bone. But if your skeleton is weak, if your core is confused, no amount of fancy production is gonna save you. You could have a 4K footage, perfect color grading, incredible sound design, But if your audience doesn't understand what your story is about, none of that matters. So here is what these 5 lines do. They lock in your core before anything else. Before you obsess over transitions, before you get lost in editing, before you spend 3 hours perfecting one shot, you know what your story is about. And that changes everything.